Welcome to this week's episode of LJ's Garage, and behind me is a 2016 Mazda Mx-5 Miata, and it's the 4th generation of the Miata, so stay tuned. We're going to find out if this is still an awesome 2-seat roadster. The first thing that you're going to notice is this is actually an awesome orange. It doesn't come that way from the factory. My buddy actually took the time to get this car dipped in his garage. So you won't be able to get this option from the factory, but it's an awesome color. And I think it makes the car pop. It gives it a nice little sporty touch, kind of like a Lamborghini orange, you know. Mazda calls this styling Kodo styling, which means soul in motion. You can get the Miata, or the Mx-5 as they call it now, in 3 different options. You've got the Sport, you've got the Club, and then you've got the Grand Tour, which is actually this one, the GT model. The Club is more for the track driving enthusiasts, and then the GT is more of the cruiser, and then you've got the Sport, which is if you're going to do a lot to that Mazda and you just want a bare bones, basic car. So behind me again is the GT. I love what Mazda's done. You've got this aggressive daytime running light, which is not on right now, but you've got these mean, aggressive headlights. The whole theme of this car is that Mazda wants to get away from that cute look. There's no more nice and friendly Miata. It's now an aggressive, sporty, serious roadster. From the factory, you get these 17-inch wheels, which look really nice. Because the car is so small, Mazda does a great job of hiding certain features. So this is where the trunk sits, but the button for the trunk is actually over here to the far right. And all you do is you just push a little button and it pops up and you've got access to your nice trunk. As you can see, there's not much for cargo space. There's only about 4.6 cubic feet of cargo space. So just enough for a couple backpacks. You definitely won't be able to fit any golf clubs or dead bodies back here. Sticking with the theme that this is just a basic car, and Mazda tries to not add too much fancy stuff into it, you don't even get the fancy little hood struts.
Under the hood is a 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes 155 horsepower, gets 36 miles per gallon on the highway, 27 in the city. You can get that with a 6-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. This is what it sounds like.
The thing that the Miata does is it reminds everyone the importance of horsepower to weight ratio, because you don't need 500 horsepower to have a blast. This thing puts a smile on your face with the sub 200 horsepower category. It does exactly what a sports car is supposed to do. It makes you smile and keeps you out of trouble, kinda. The Miata was introduced back in 1989, and it was called that exactly, the Miata. But on this car, a lot of people always talk about the fact that you will not see a Miata badge on this car. So MX-5 is all you'll see, and that's what this car goes by from here on forward. So Mazda's really trying to get away from the cute Miata thing. One of the best things about the Miata is that you can take this top down in about 5 seconds. So if you're pretty fast, which I'm about to see if I'm that fast, we're gonna try to put this top down in about 5 seconds. So here we go. Step 1, you pull this forward, pull this down, that releases the roof, and then all you do is simply just grab here and pull back and then push down. Simple as that. And then in order to do everything reverse, all you do is you pull this up, this releases up here, and you bring everything back over, pull this, locks right back in place. Easy. So what do you get when you choose the Grand Touring option? I'll tell you. You get automatic climate control, so these actually have numbers on them. You get the push start and all that fancy cool stuff. You get heated seats, you get navigation, and a garage door opener. What is this in my hand, you may wonder? It's a cup holder. So it's portable, and you can put it here and lock them in place, or you can place it right over here for the passenger, but the only thing is they sacrifice their legroom. But that's all right, I guess. If you're wondering whether or not you have a CD player in this, you have to look a little closely for it. There's one right down in there, right behind the cup holders. And then there is more storage right in here. So even though it's a small car, it makes use of all the space that it has. This is pretty much the standard Mazda interior. So Mazda tries to take the same recipe for its cars and then change the size of them. So if you've been in any of the current Mazdas, you'll notice that this looks pretty similar. This actually has some pretty cute paddle shifters. Sorry Mazda, I did use the word cute, but they're pretty cute little tiny paddle shifters, and they're pretty responsive and they do a good job. And again, Mazda does a good job of incorporating a lot of safety features. So you got blind spot monitoring and lane departure. Two cool features that this car offers: it's got this high beam control. So when your high beams are on and you're driving in low light conditions, if it detects an oncoming car, it'll kill the high beams. Cool feature. And then adaptive front lighting system. So the car actually has headlights that move with the steering wheel. Another cool feature, something found in a lot of BMWs. So this 2016 doesn't have a backup camera, and the newer ones do. But if you look at it, you actually realize that you really don't need a backup camera. You can actually see quite a bit of the rear, so you can park this car wherever you want. Since the Miata only weighs about 2,300 pounds, it's fun to throw around corners. It goes exactly where you place it. And again, check out this 50-50 weight distribution video. I love that the Miata is so light and so small, because it gives you some sort of confidence. You actually feel like you're a good driver. This car gives you just that feeling of where I tell the car to go, it's gonna go, and it's gonna do it smoothly and sporty and awesome, and it's a fun little car to throw around corners. The car is very simple. The suspension is all right when it comes to comfort, but once the roads start to get bad, so does the feel of everything. It starts to get a little bumpy. Road noise is not the best. The soft top, again, you kind of expect that when you get into it, that you're gonna hear a little bit more than you would in a normal hardtop car or whatnot. And so it's very similar to kind of driving around a Jeep Wrangler or something like that. You get that road noise. The best way to describe the Miata is it's a fast, slow car, and that's something I've heard before, but until you've actually driven one of these, you'll really understand why Mazda does the whole zoom fun car driving experience. Get in one of these and you'll fully understand that. If I were to get one of these myself, I would actually choose the 6-speed manual versus the 6-speed automatic, even though I gotta say, with the paddle shifters and everything, it feels really good. But you can actually get more connected to the car, I feel, with the manual, and I know everyone says that, but I feel like the Miata, that's the best way to really enjoy it. Unless you really do enjoy paddle shifters, then again, it's not a negative, it's just a personal preference. If you made it this far, thanks for checking out this week's episode of Ljs Garage, and I hope that you understand why I find this Mazda MX-5 Miata to be one of the coolest little sports cars that you can buy. And if you haven't seen my latest video on the Mazda CX-3, check that out, and you'll also understand why that's a cool little Mazda. But stay tuned, subscribe, like, and let me know what your favorite little sports car is.